Okay, we have an article here from a few days back, but it's still quite relevant. This is very much for everybody who loves coffee and focuses on commodity trading such as coffee. So let us just jump right into the article. There's a lot to discuss. So let us transition right now over to the article. This is a great article, very revealing. Let's jump right in because this explains a lot about coffee prices. So, the global Robusta coffee shortage continues unabated, with prices reaching new highs in London trading on Tuesday of last week. The surge, according to Bloomberg, is directly linked to concerns over sliding bean exports from Vietnam due to ongoing droughts. Vietnam, the world's second largest producer of Robusta beans, recorded a 50% plunge in June exports from 1 year ago to 70,202 tons, according to the country's customs department. Bloomberg calculations show this is the lowest amount of beans exported since the 2010-2011 crop season. Dry weather continues to have an impact on production in Vietnam, said Michael McDougall, managing director at Paragon Global Markets. Robusta beans contracts in London rose as much as 3.5% to $4,500 a ton on Tuesday of last week, the highest data in going back to the year 2008. Arabica futures in New York jumped 4%. So we have here the graph showing Robusta coffee since 2008. And so for pretty much the entire 2008 all the way through really 2021, it was anywhere between 1,000 to 2,500. And now, really in the last 18 months, it's broken through the ceiling of 2,500 and now is at 4,500 really in the last 12 months, 18 months maximum. So it's quite crazy. And we know that most recently, there's been some other articles about the next bean is hyperinflating and it's not cocoa, right? Arabica coffee prices see largest weekly jump in nearly 3 years. Robusta coffee bean prices nearly half-century high as Vietnam supply was spark world crunch. And then, of course, Brewing Storm, the world's top Robusta coffee products, reports smallest exports since 2009. So these have been all recent issues regarding coffee. This is something that we are covering and watching very closely as we focus on Indonesian exports, trying to get involved with that. And in addition to some Colombian coffee investments on the private equity side that we've been monitoring. So one company in particular plans on IPOing in 2026. So to finish the article, let's not forget that a third of the world's Robusta beans come from Vietnam. Fact. The bean is primarily used in instant coffee and espresso. Fact. So last month, J.M. Smucker Company, whose brands include Folgers, Dunkin', Cafe Bustelo, Pilon, and Medaglia d'Oro, warned of imminent price hikes across its brands due to the surge in bean prices. So get used to the elevated prices. So that has actually been something that we covered, that article a few weeks back. But we believe, if you want to call it a bullwhip effect, or you want to call it maybe just price explosion, this might be weather affected, and it might also be the fact that just demand is increasing. So I think it's a 1-2 punch of bad harvest because we're exiting El Nino and entering La Nina, and because there was an El Nino bump in the last few years, and the fact that as you see with Vietnam, drought equals low harvest. That was also technically the case in Indonesia last year, and just surging global demand for coffee in general, whether it's Arabica or Robusta. So that is our personal opinion on why the prices are elevated, but it is what it is. And people are just going to have to accept the fact that their coffee, if it's fully coffee, we've also covered non-coffee or coffee substitutes as we study it as the asset class. But when it comes to just a cup of joe, things are going to get expensive and perhaps even double.